everybody had a good 4th of July, and if you're watching on Facebook, we're happy to have you, but come join us because there's some great energy in the room. We got any first-time visitors to Million Cups today? Show of hands real quick. Hey, welcome. Thanks for being here. Appreciate that. So just real quick so you know what 1 Million Cups is, this is a program that happens all over the country. There's about 185 chapters meeting like we are right now. It's completely led by volunteers, and we bring in entrepreneurs to talk about their business, tell us what they're doing, seek feedback if they're looking for some feedback, and we also get to ask some questions. So there's always great information and great education that comes from being a part of Million Cups. As you know, it's an open door policy, so join us every Wednesday or whenever your schedule allows. And you know, I always encourage everybody to make sure you bring somebody, because we all know someone that should be in this room right now that isn't. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into today's featured speaker. We have Kimi Ayers from O2 Wizard, who's here to share with us everything that's going on with her business. So help me give it up for Kimi.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for showing up. So I have been able to do one poem in my life. I'm going to read it for you. If your mind says go, 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 but your body says no, 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 maybe your home smells like smoke or your office makes you choke. We've successfully treated meth houses as well as death houses. Let us know if it smells old or maybe like mold. If it's gotten wet or smells like a pet, give us a call. It's a pleasure for us to fix it all. So, I needed that in high school for a poetry class. So I want to introduce my team, my husband Kenny. Jamie, he's in charge of our sales. And Corey, our son-in-law, he takes care of most of the installations. I'm really excited because we have a lot of family and close friends that work with us, so we appreciate them all. So this is my first time with a PowerPoint presentation, so let's see if I can get this. So our main objective is to make the public aware about mold and sick building syndrome. A lot of people think it's just mold that makes a home sick, but there's so many other things that we'll cover today. And sick building syndrome consists of all sorts of things that can be living and non-living in a home. We are licensed mold remediators, and we have seen all sorts of interesting things. Now, most people think most of the work that we do is about mold in the home. Where those big renovations and you see mold all over the place. We do those, but actually that's a smaller part of our business. And when we have those places that have sat empty for a couple of years, they look like a giant petri dish, those are always fun. Corey, I know you love to do those. But actually when we go in and treat it, it's dead, and so it's safe to be in after we go into them. We do mold testing. We take care of odors, volatile organic compounds. We've worked with pests, like we've done bugs and bed bugs. My husband starts itching before we even get there. Spiders, German roaches are actually easy for us to take care of. There's all sorts of things that can be in a home. And we also do business opportunities. So the manufacturer of our technology has asked us to be the exclusive distributor. So we help other people get into this business around the world. In the last few years, we've helped about 25 companies get going. So it's really exciting to see other people grow in the business as well. So what consists of sick building syndrome? We have mold and mildew, of course, fungus, pollen, you know, all that stuff you see in the fall and in the winter that's on your vehicles and floating around and makes you all stuffed up. Well, that stuff is pollen while it's dry and becomes mold when it gets wet. So every time you open up your doors and windows and things like that, sometimes it gets in, and then you have a little moisture in your home. While in Florida, lots of humidity, now it becomes mold in the home. So it accumulates over the years. And mold likes to eat and excrete, so it floats around. Mold, you usually don't see it because it's microscopic, unless it's sat in a place long enough where you start seeing the excrement of larger colonies. And what happens is it eats and excretes, it actually floats down and creates dust in your home. Because most people tell us after we treat their home, most of the dust goes away. So odors, we do smoke, which is fire and cigarette odors. So the realtors love it when we take care of the pet odors and the cigarette smoke odors to sell the places. Off-gassing, so things like formaldehyde and benzene are in the wood, the sheetrock, the building materials, furniture, clothing, all these sorts of things that are usually manufactured overseas are put into a box and then into a cargo ship, in a truck, into a store, and then in your home. So think about all the contaminants that your stuff can pick up on the way to your home. Bacteria usually comes from people, pets, pests, and food. So if there's been, say, a roach infestation in your home in the past, those things actually float around and create a big problem for health issues, especially asthma. And bacteria also, we love our pets, but let's face it, if they have accidents or saliva or they chew or fur, things like that, all that stuff creates bacteria in the home. So if you go into a home and you smell a little bit of pet odor, that's a living organism. And it's not just in that place that they had that accident, but that bacteria floats around in your home and creates sick building syndrome as well. We've done meth houses, the places where they're creating drugs. Those are always interesting, but we can make them safe and healthy again. The sulfur sheetrock, you remember the Chinese drywall? We've done several of those as well. And nitrogen oxide. So a lot of times people ask us about the UV lights in the AC units. Well, what happens is that they can put off that gas, which is an irritant to people, and it doesn't actually kill mold in a home. And I know sometimes they lead to that fact, but we're treating places all the time and seeing the mold coming out of the vents that have those UV lights. So it's not as effective as sometimes you may think. Does anybody know what mold looks like?
All kinds. It's four.
Yep. Now actually it's invisible until it starts growing. And it can look like fuzzy, furry little dots. There's all sorts of appearances. If something is there that's starting to develop and you don't know what it is or where it came from, it's very likely mold. Does anybody know what color mold is? All colors of the rainbow and more. We've seen it pink and orange and yellow and brown and gray. It's just interesting on the things we see. So mold is microscopic. It grows very slowly. We see it come out the vents around the AC filters as well all the time. It only takes 50% moisture for mold to start growing. Welcome to Florida. And it takes 16% humidity to keep it alive. So once it starts growing, it doesn't go away. You can't clean it away, all that stuff floating in your air. And there's thousands of species, and so what happens is that creates that musty, what I call the body odor of mold in your home. What are the three things that mold needs to grow? Moisture. Humidity is moisture, oxygen, and a food source. You know what the food source is? Just about everything in your home. But the only thing it doesn't really grow into is glass. So the Environmental Protection Agency reports that bleach does not kill mold. It is a whitener. So what you're doing is you're wetting mold, and then it can grow even more. Indoor air quality is the #1 environmental health issue affecting people in the U.S. today. 6 out of 10 homes have mold and sick building syndrome. So it's amazing that people don't realize that this is what's affecting their health. And 20% of employees have issues with mold-related sicknesses where they work. So these are some pictures. So this is an AC unit, and you can see where the water may have leaked out the AC. You know, the drip lines that the water comes out? We see those that get clogged, and then the water backs up, creates mold in the AC, and guess where that AC air is going? Into the rest of your home. Vents, this is an extreme vent. You see rusting around like commercial building vents. And around windowsills. And inside cabinets, if you look where sinks are, sometimes you'll see the black or discoloration under, or you see where they replaced the panel under the sinks. That's because there was water damage. When you have water damage, it's usually not if, but when you're going to have mold. the returns from the AC, around plumbing. So these are things that are obvious signs that there can be mold or things going in your home. So how bad do you let it get? It goes from microscopic to measles to moths to even mushrooms. Sometimes we'll have people that call us and tell us they have these things growing in their home. And how sick do you want to get? So if it's in the home, it's mold. If it's in the body, it's fungus. Fungus is responsible for over 200 health issues. So if you think about all the health issues you've had in your past and in your present, chances are you've been exposed to mold. And how much mold does it take to affect your health? A pearl size. So one pearl size of mold can affect you. It stays in you and it grows. It can create weight gain. I could never figure out why I was always in my entire life working so hard to lose weight and I couldn't lose it. Well, my sickness started as a child. I was born to a moldy mom, brought home to a moldy place. We lived in my grandmother's home for the first couple years. She had a triplex. And going back to visit her, I remember as far back as like 4 years old, I loved going to visit Grandma in New York City, but every time I walked in, it was like, that musty smell was so overpowering. And she always loved getting away from her home, not realizing that it was her home that was making her sick, because she always feel better when she can stay with us or come to Florida or places to get away from that contaminant. So other names for fungus are candida, yeast, inflammation. It affects every system of your body. So from your hair loss to your eyes, throat, sinuses, asthma. Most cancer is fungal related. And your organs, kidney, liver, your intestines, reproductive system, elimination system, circulatory heart, you name it, even to the fungus in your toenails is most likely fungus in your body. So these are some other extreme pictures. You can see the back of a dresser, because mold hides. You don't see it as much where you clean. You see it more where it's not disturbed. This fan shows where some moisture, it was just humidity, got in there, and those blades actually started falling down like a petal. And on the chair, you can see the white mold that's dusting. The mold actually, it eats things away. Have you ever seen an old building where it got wet and it starts collapsing and falling apart? That's the mold eating away at that building. It does the same thing to our bodies. And so it ate away at that lamp. We see leather. That's a big place where we see mold, because it used to be a living organism. So that leather loves mold. And this chair was covered with mold. And we cleaned it up and it looked beautiful afterward. I didn't think we'd be able to save that. These are some before and after. So a pair of shoes, this is a bathroom, and this is a bedroom. We didn't think we'd be able to save that wall either. So we took that picture in the morning, came back that evening and took a picture. And you can see we saved it. My husband, the guy that we did the work for just didn't believe it. He said, well, I know, there's got to be mold behind it, and we can usually tell what's going on. And so he cut a hole in the wall, and there was nothing behind it. It was on the surface. And they made a bet. And Kenny said, if I'm wrong, then we'll do the job for free and I'll replace this wall. So we got paid for that job. And how extreme do you want it to get? So when we treat a place, after it's dead, then it's safe for us to clean up. Never clean up live mold. It can make you very sick. In the beginning of us doing this, we've been doing this for about 12 years, right? And there was people that we gave them a quote, we pointed out the mold, they cleaned it up before we got there to treat it, and they were in the hospital. So I tell people, stay away from it. We've collectively saved homeowners over $30 million. Here on Beach Street, there was a lot of places that flooded. So insurance companies are wanting to work with us more and more, because of course we save them money as well. But on Beach Street, when all these places flooded, some of the places were just, tearing stuff out and having to take, time off work, close their business down for weeks or months, and do all the restoration. The ones that called us, because we've done work for a lot of these property owners in the area, they called us up and they said, can you save our building? And so every person that had flooding from the hurricanes, within 3 or 4 days, were back in their homes or businesses. I was working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, but because our machines super oxygenate a place, it's so pure, healthy air. The house full of energy. It's like, man, maybe I should work these 16-hour days every day. But we did that for about 2 months. It was awesome. I felt wonderful. So these are some more pictures of things that you look for. You see the brown discoloration on the ceiling by the light? That brown discoloration is mold into a place. You can see where the wall and the ceiling meet and that tape is separating. That separation is from moisture, which creates problems. There was a bathroom on the other side of that wall. So behind that little panel there is a plumbing repair. So if you were repairing plumbing, why? It's usually because there was some type of leak. Guess what happens in about a year or 2? That creates a problem for you. This was actually a black fuzzy ball. A bunch of it was maybe about 4 or 5 inches thick growing out the wall. So that was a bad one. And she thought she was gonna have to tear that out. But we were able to save it, clean it up, and all she had to do is paint it when we were finished. This is this is between the walls. And this is when we found the beer bottles behind the wall too. This is from the 70s or something like that. So you don't know what's always behind the walls. We see things that are left back there. But that plumbing leak left all that mold growing. Now our technology does get behind the wall. So when we treat it, if there's mold back there, we'll kill it. Now we don't tear up the wall to clean it up, but if you don't see it, you don't have to worry about it. Cleaning up is more for visible purposes, but it's dead. We get to 99.9% of the mold in the entire home, and that's just amazing. Are new homes susceptible to mold? Oh yeah, we've done a lot of places before they were finished being built, because the wood, sheetrock, building materials sit outside and get wet, and then they get installed. So the average home will have about a leak within about 5 years of being built. So I was surprised to hear that. And you can move it with you. Vacant homes, so these rentals, a lot of places that are rentals have sit buildings that are remote because they sit empty with no AC between tenants. Even if it's for a week or 2, it's enough time for that stuff to start growing. An AC pulls out an average of 16 gallons of moisture a day. You have no AC running for a week, think about taking 16 gallons times 7, I'm not going to calculate that, and just pour it in your home. And that's how much moisture can accumulate. And 35% of homes have experienced moisture intrusion. So how to get rid of mold? Hey, that's where we come in, yay! So we have NASA technology, the latest technology. We have machines that actually vibrate the oxygen molecules apart, so it's no longer O2. It no longer sustains life. So it kills the mold, bacteria, viruses, helps eliminate probably about 90% of the bugs in a place. Sick building syndrome, a lot of odors, pet odors, all those things are living organisms. And let's see, we are the best at eliminating indoor pollutants. We have the one-of-a-kind technology, and let's see, it's organic, so there's no chemicals, and it actually kills the core root of the mold, so it stays gone. We've had so many of our clients, they had mold remediation maybe a year or 2 ago, and then they're starting to feel sick, because with remediation, they tear out the walls, they use air scrubbers, they use air purifiers, but it's not actually killing the core root of it like we do. So in 12 years, we had less than 1% repeat business. So I think that's amazing. Most of our repeat business is when people move to a new home because they felt better in their old home. When we remove the oxygen, what happens is after we turn those machines off and open the doors, those molecules quickly come back together. It's the healthiest air you can breathe. The people that are there when we treat the home, because the machines are on a little bit while they're there, they breathe it in, and it actually helps break up the mold, the bacteria, the mucus, infection, and stuff in the lungs. Most infections start from the lungs, from the air that you're breathing, and then gets distributed through your body. We have the only money-back guarantee service, and it's effective, efficient, eco-friendly, and economical. So when people often are given quotes of, like one condo we did, they were quoted maybe about $200,000 to gut it and start all over. We're like, no. We came in, treated it, did a full cleanup from top to bottom. We pulled out drawers, we opened cabinets, we go into everything, and fully cleaned it, and for under $4,000, it looked like a brand new place. The realtors, the buyers, the sellers, the association will come in going, wow, and it's really cool when you can change a place like that and make it really healthy. So we're one of the area's longest established mold companies, and we fix issues that others cannot get to, and we assist with prevention. You don't have to tear it out unless there's structure damage. Of course, then that would need to be replaced. We've done work for government facilities, Benell City Hall. I don't know if you remember, probably a dozen years ago, they actually had to move everybody out of it because of sick building syndrome. We treated it, and by that weekend, they had everything moved back in, and everybody's back to work in a nice, healthy place, because it's made out of that beautiful coquina stone, and it's a historical building, and they did not want to tear it down, and they were trying to figure out what to do. They saw an article about us in the paper, so it was really awesome. We've done work for insurance companies and hospitals and historic hotels, motels, restaurants. Hotels, motels, schools, rental property. So what happens is these places sit empty, and those create the best environments for multi-growth. What were you saying, honey?
Courthouse, we did the courthouse.
Oh yeah, that was funny. Oh my gosh, it's like 7:15 in the morning, the phone rings, he answers it, he's like, what? Talk to my wife. And I was like, this is Rick from the 5th District Court of Appeals, is this the Kimi Ayers? I'm like, oh, yeah. It's like, you do mold? Oh yeah. So we took care of that building, and that was kind of cool. Lots of condos and apartments and thousands of residential homes in the area. We've done trains and automobiles and RVs, boats, you name it. We had one boat that had raccoons that moved into it, and they couldn't even get near it. I mean, as soon as you got near the boat, you're going, oh. So that one we had to treat a couple times, but they were able to use their boat again. It sat empty for a year because they couldn't even get near it. So when we treat a place, people and pets do need to leave because there's no oxygen, but plants and fish can stay. Our average time to set up a home is about 20 to 40 minutes, and it purifies. Air purifiers don't kill sick building syndrome. They maybe help keep the odor down and help keep things a little calmer, but it doesn't actually kill the chlorine. Plug-ins, they mask odor, so if you ever go house hunting and you see plug-ins or air fresheners, that's a warning that there's probably sick building syndrome or odors in there. And those things can make you feel sick and affect your health as well. No chemicals or residue is left over. Once we treat it, it's dead. So there's no chemicals that we use to affect your health. So the things that we do testing, and not all mold is detectable from testing though, because they only test maybe the top 10 to 12 molds. We've been into places where they've had it tested 3 times, and all 3 times it showed negative for mold, and you see it growing all over. But they weren't testing for that specific mold. If you see it or you smell it, guess what? You have mold. And there's no real test for all the sick building syndrome things that we take care of. We had one lady call us, and she had this rash all over her body, especially her back was one big red rash. And she didn't have mold in her home, but she had sick building syndrome. She had a lot of other things going on. And so, we advised her what to do. We didn't even charge her. We didn't even treat her home. It was stuff that she could easily do herself. And I contacted her 3 weeks later. And she'd been going to Mayo Clinic's doctor specialists for 3 years. They could not figure out what was wrong with her. And we went and did a free consult with her. And 3 weeks later when I called her, she said it went away. She felt so much better. So there's dozens of contaminants in a home that could affect you. So when I was born sick, I remember just all my life going to doctors, having health issues, things going on with me. I was hanging out with Grandma and her friends one day. I was about 9 years old. You know how old people get together and talk about all their health issues? I had half of them. I realized at that point I was old. And I was like, what am I going to do? So that's when I started really exploring, there's something that's wrong with me and I want to find out. So this has been my life's mission, to figure out how to heal myself and help heal others. On our website, we have a list of 200 mold-related health issues. At different times, I probably had about a third of those. And now in my 50s, I actually feel normal. I've never been able to say that. And I have the energy to do the work that I'm doing. Where in my past, I just had so many bad days. Sometimes it was just hard to get out of bed. There was days where for over months, sometimes 2 months, it just took everything I had. It took me an hour just to get myself out of bed, just to brush my teeth and get off my couch. I was so bad. So I treasure every day that I feel good. It's awesome. Meds don't take care of sick building syndromes. Honestly, most doctors really don't know much about mold unless they're self-taught. So with these health quizzes that I pass out, I encourage you to share those with other people so they understand what's going on with them. Some of our doctors have read it, and they're starting to realize that mold is a big factor in health as well. So it's exciting that the medical industry is starting to learn a little bit about it. And why is that? There's a lot of money to be made in sickness. So think about that if you're having health issues. 90% of infections are from fungus. Antibiotics are antibacterial, but bacteria is not what's affecting you, it's the fungus. So a lot of times when you take antibiotics, about 2 or 3 weeks later, you're sick again, and that's why. Do you remember what penicillin's made out of?
Mold.
Mold. And so antibiotics, prednisone, steroids, a lot of those things are sisters of those things. So sometimes they're treating mold with mold, and that's why people get sicker and sicker over the years.
Hey, Kimi. Okay.
So this is our health quiz. Are you feeling old or simply getting full of mold? It's good to read it like, at a red light or in the bathroom or something. It only takes a few minutes. Because with over 50% of homes having sick building syndrome, you're going to know somebody's got some issues going on here. And this flyer just shows some of our extreme pictures of things that we've done for people. So the business opportunity, we supply a complete turnkey business for people that want to get into this as a business. And it's really cool because we help them through the whole process. Even years later, they have a question or things are slowed down from like, call me, let's help you keep you going. Because we can't be everywhere. In the past couple months, we've been doing jobs. We've worked in North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Pennsylvania, I don't remember where else, South Florida. So we need more help. We need more people out there doing this so we can stay home more. These are some of the locations that we have right now. And we have the only technology capable of changing toxic air into healthy air. This is our website, and you'll see if people do have questions, 200 mold-related health issues, how you got mold, the health quiz that you have on hand, how the technology works, and pictures. So the pictures that I have on there are also on our website. So feel free to send people to that. Just maybe take a picture of our card or something. Just save it under the word mold. You don't remember our name, just remember mold. That'll work. So, and on our website, we also have 100 ways that mold can start growing in a home, because that's always a question. And let's see, lots of other great information. We do free inspections here in Volusia County, but the reason I'm here today is I would love input on how to, A, get the word out, and B, most importantly, how do I get the word out for selling territories around the world? So I would love to expand this, because this technology is so vital, it's so important to people's health today. So I want to thank you.
All right, so who's got our first question? I'll come around, Skip will go here, and then I'll come around the back.
Skip Lilly, Vision HR. What's the difference between food mold and house mold? Is there a difference?
There is over 1,000 species of mold. And so a lot of the food mold comes from sugar and flour. So mold loves those. Your body actually craves those molds. Craves those foods, like craves sugar and flour, because it's hungry and it wants to eat. And so the more you feed it sugar and flour, the more it grows in your system. And so now your body becomes so, it's wearing down your body so much, it's starting to feed on your body. So there's all sorts of molds that can grow from all sorts of sources.
One second follow-up. The cost to treat a problem area like a kitchen sink or dishwasher area where you might smell mold. What's a ballpark?
Okay, so ballpark price. What happens is that we really don't treat the dishwasher or the sink, we treat the entire home. Because by the time you see it or smell it, it's cycled through everything in your home. And so typically in Volusia County, if it's just simple sick building syndrome or mold, just to treat it, it's usually about 50 to 75 cents a square foot. If it's pet odors or cigarette odors, we charge more because that's usually 2 days. And sometimes it's a little bit more of a more involved process. If we have to do remediation, then that's where we have to do the full cleanup. That's labor intensive. So those we have to price by site. Some places just a 5-minute cleanup. Some places it's a week-long cleanup with everything.
Do you have a way to pinpoint where the mold source is coming from?
Usually we can tell. Sometimes it's not a source. Sometimes it's just humidity. Sometimes it's just moisture in the home.
Tina Davis. Is it not advisable to put a cap full of bleach into your air conditioning system? Would that cut down?
That helps it from clogging, that or vinegar.
It's not.
It's not going to kill the mold, but it'll keep that line from getting clogged up. If it is starting to get clogged up, you can also put hot water, like boil some water, and that can help clear it out, and then use like the bleach and the vinegar for maintenance.
Okay.
Go ahead and pass it back. There's another one right there. Thank you.
Great presentation. As far as this is Tina. We have several assisted living facilities that we own, so I will be calling you, and also a consulting business for Volusia. But one way you can definitely grow your business is I would contact Council on Aging. Council on Aging is throughout the state of Florida, and they do contracts. And we do not have a contract. I work with them as well. They do not have a contract for anyone doing mold. And I will tell you, the average senior citizen that still lives at home alone, they probably couldn't pay your price, so we probably have to work a deal, but volume, you get a lot of volume, if you work it.
Yeah.
But
we work
contact
with
Council on Aging. I guarantee you can expand your business quickly by contacting us.
Yeah, we've been doing work for the Housing Authority this week, and we nonprofits and things, we really work with them churches.
Hi, Michelle James, business coach at Space Coast Credit Union. Question, I see all these locations. Can you talk a little bit how you scaled that business and how the business, are you guys owner-operator of all these locations, or are these ones that you is it franchise, or how does that work? You said business opportunity.
Okay, yes, so it's not a franchise, it's a territory, which means we don't charge franchise fees. So when somebody buys a territory, that's it. They don't have to pay us anymore after that. So a couple of those locations are work under us, so basically they're subcontractors. The rest of them bought territories. And so when they buy a territory, they get 3 machines, protected territory, training manuals, ongoing support, and we're there to help them through the process.
And how do you base the cost of the territory?
They sell for $32,000, and that includes most everything except like the website, insurance, and business cards,
And how do you define the territory?
by the county.
So there's
Unless it's like
67 opportunities in Florida, minus what you currently have.
Correct. And the rest of the world.
Well, Florida, I said
Yeah.
Florida.
And so Florida's a little bit more difficult because you have to have licenses. There's only like 3 or 4 states where you actually have to have a license to do home remediation.
Okay. Tyler LeCompte Networks Inc. A wonderful presentation. This is really good. Can I ask a couple of different questions? Can you explain the difference of this versus fumigation? And can you explain how this is different from ozone?
So fumigation, ozone, those put out gases, which they help slow it down, but it's still not killing the core root. Because we've actually done jobs after those services have been done. And some of the processes, they're just not strong enough to actually kill the core root of it. And they don't always get into the AC and the ductwork, the clothes, the furniture, things like that. Some of those gassing processes, you have to cover the furniture and clothes. There's a lot of different methods out there, and we do keep track of them all and the progress of them. So that's why I'm excited about what we do. It's really the only solution that we found that works.
But people and pets cannot be in the property when you're doing it, correct?
Right, for about 20 hours. So
And why is that?
not enough oxygen.
Thank you. I was just waiting for you to say that.
One way after your business was started, my name's Dan Harper. One way to help their business is something called fear. And in '97, my left eye was truly growing out of my head. It got so bad I had to wear an eye patch to actually not see double vision and dry. I was finally diagnosed at Sheehan's with having brain cancer. When they take me into surgery, 6 hours, I'm out in under 2. And I said, so what went wrong? And they said, you don't have cancer. What went wrong? You have a fungal infection in your sinus cavity. I was on IV meds for 6 weeks. And long story short, in 2001, there was a $140,000 bankruptcy filed.
Wow. You know, fungus.
Thanks for the share.
Yeah, sinus infections are so common, they definitely affect your eyesight as well. So sorry to hear that happened to you.
Introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Les Newman. You're a great presenter, and I don't know anybody that knows more about this stuff than you ever will. I mean, you're phenomenal. I understand your presentation. I kind of get your business model. I'm not sure I agree with it all, and I wished in your presentation, not being critical, that you would have shown why a person should get into this business. What's the money to be made? What's the profit and loss like? What's the competitive landscape look like? I wish you would have embellished a little more on the business side, because that's why you're here.
Right, that's a good thought. I do have that well, when people inquire about buying a territory, I do present that to them, but you're right. Are you writing these down now? I am. Oh, good. Thank you for that.
Hi, Ron Wysikarsky, Wise Home Team Realty. I'll catch up with you afterwards, but we can absolutely help you get the word out a little bit about your services and maybe connect with some other people. But I thought it was interesting. What you had to say today taught me a little bit, and actually, I put a post on Facebook. Somebody actually messaged me and said they'd use your services, and gave you a thumbs up on that. So I just want to give you a little feedback on that.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah, about 25% of our work is with realtors and property managers. Through them or the referrals, so we always appreciate them.
Hey Kimi, Sean Donovan. Great to see you again and great presentation.
Thank you.
We moved into our house about 2 years ago, and it's got a funky smell. It's not mold. I definitely know what mold is because I was in real estate contracting for years as well, but it's just like an old smell. So we tried, the air fresheners, etc. And then I got a little one of the ozonator, little fan units put up on top of the fridge. And as long as the plates are clean in it, it suppresses the smell. You don't smell it. When those plates get dirtier, it gets clogged, then the smell starts to creep back. I understand when you kill mold, it kills the smell, but for smells like smoke and other funky smells, like, how does it kill that? I mean, how do you kill the source of just a smell if it's not maybe living?
Yeah, we at first the technology was about mold and building aerobic or living organisms, but over the years we found it's worked on the anaerobic or non-living organisms as well. So it's kind of by trial and error. That's why the cigarette odor is sometimes a little more challenging. Sometimes we'll have to do it a couple times or for a couple days. But we're removing the nicotine, the harmful chemicals and things like that, because it does work on different off-gassing and different chemicals that can affect your health.
Thanks.
It goes away as soon as you leave.
Thanks, Keeler.
All right, back here.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Bob Goldsmith. You said that you were using NASA technology. Could you elaborate on exactly what technology that is?
What happened, the space station was having air quality issues, and they bought all these different devices, and I'm sure a lot of you have used them or heard about them. but they weren't actually fixing the problem. And so the higher ups told the engineers, well, make something. They had a little bit of money behind them working at NASA. So after a couple of years, they were actually able to make the technology to fix the air quality, and it also worked on the water. So the manufacturer also has systems for city and county municipalities. And so what happened is that when they retired, they created this technology for people like us to help people in our community.
So do you own the technology or license it?
We are the exclusive distributor, so we license the territories for the people that buy the territories.
So you're the master licensee for that
Yes.
technology?
Yes, because the manufacturer, he's retired, he's an older gentleman, and he's what do you call it?
Rocket scientist?
Meaning that, you know, really great inventor, they're really smart with creating stuff, but marketing and presentations.
Visionary.
Yeah, right.
Well, then it's called an engineer.
So exactly, you need to make a training manual. People are always calling you and asking you what to do. You need to put this all in writing. He's like, yeah. So I did it, and then I'm helping some of the licensees when they had questions they couldn't reach him because he's always on the phone answering questions. They call me, and I just started putting all this stuff in the manual and helping other people, and that's when he put me in charge of training people. So it's a perfect fit. And with him being an engineer, he knows how to fix the technology. He knows about the machines, mechanics of it.
So 2 quick questions. Number 1, once you take a home and get all the mold out, how often are you going back to check or?
So far, less than 1% of the time we've gone back in 12 years.
Okay. And then my other question is, being that you're not franchised.
We're gonna hear you out pretty soon.
Okay. Being that you might have mold on the mic. Also, being that you're not franchised, do you stand any legal litigation just in case if someone tries to sue? Because you know everybody's sue happy. So
Oh, God.
where do you go with that?
Problem I have to think about. You can fuck that. I'll have to ask my lawyer about that one. But we offer money back guarantee, so if somebody's not happy,
Okay.
we'll just refund their money. I think we've done it twice in 12 years.
Great job. I'm Steve Keeler. A couple of questions. O2 is the brand name, is the corporate brand name. They're located, because your buddy told me here, in New Smyrna. So that is the manufacturer who solved NASA's problems. That you have the entire United States as your territory.
So the manufacturer, he doesn't live in New Smyrna Beach, but us as O2 Wizard, that's the branding name. We live in New Smyrna Beach.
So is the brand name yours?
Yes. Yes. And the other part, what was the other part?
That was it. That was it. You got it.
That's all you get, Steve. You get it.
Yeah, we have territories, we've sold territories overseas.
That was the other thing.
Yeah.
Yes. We have people in Puerto Rico, Hawaii, Canada. So we're trying to branch out. You know, it's a little harder with the language barrier for other areas, but we do have the machines that are set up to plug into different electrical systems in other countries.
In other countries, you have different power sources. Of course, you have to have, he makes them, custom makes them as they're needed. But going back to his question, how much money can you make? As much as you work it, as much as you want to make it. And we offer money back guarantee. Everything that we have has gone through the blood and sweat of the lawyers and all the people that's involved in it. So when you give them a card or you do a job, it offers money back guarantee. And that's her question over there, that if you're not satisfied, we do offer money back guarantee. But, and to run the territory, to run, if you bought, just say you bought Flagler County. You can come in, we show you, we train you, give everything that you need to do, what you need to do. Upkeep, maintenance going on is very limited. We use blue painter's tape to tape up the wall, the windows and the saucepan. But we want to make the house airtight as possible. We want to kill everything in the house. And so that's what we do when we come to a house or business, boat, or a car. So he did a job a couple months ago. The lady, her car smelled like fish. They left fish in the car. And so we went and treated it, and it smelled good. And a couple days later, it came back again. And I told Kim, I said, tell her she got some fish left in there. Sure enough, they tore the seats apart. There was some fish still in there. So to kill the odor, to kill it, you got to get the stuff out of it. So in the home, by killing it and cleaning it and cleaning it up, that makes the home as healthy as you can be, and it's clean. And we also, how long does it last? As long as you do what we recommend. We recommend, we give free quotes. We go around and give free education to people what to do to keep more from coming in your home, to 55 and plus communities. We have a training, we tell people what to look for and what to do to prevent it from coming in. Once we treat your home, we recommend you what you need to do to keep it from coming back. And we've done places 11 years ago, and they've never had any return because they've done what we recommend. Now, if you don't do what we recommend, you go to Florida for 6 months or go to New York and you come back, you cut your air off, air conditioned fans, you most likely going to have surface mold. Most mold in Florida is surface mold. Like the big pictures we've seen on the walls and all. Surface mold is easy to kill, easy to clean up. It's just when it starts eating into the wall, if it has eaten into the wall, you may have to replace it. As long as there's no structure damage, you don't have to do no replacement. And we have seen mold eating into smooth concrete. We did a job in South Carolina in the school, walk-in freezer. They took out the walls. Mushrooms were going behind it into the wall, and we treated it and killed it.
Real quick, kind of, we're wrapping up here. Michael Harris, Kimi, I want to say great job. Thank you for coming and doing what you did. Help me give it up for Kimi. And part of what we do with Million Cups is we have these Q&A sessions so that you can give feedback. There were some great suggestions here today. Kimi led off with her presentation that this was her first PowerPoint that she did, and I would say that she did a damn good job, to be honest with you. But comment about getting into the business opportunity, I think that this is an opportunity for us to bring you back and let's say maybe 3 months, 6 months, and do what we call a refill. So we can get a little bit of an update on how the business is going, and then maybe we can hone in a little bit more on some of the business opportunities that you talked about. But again, great job. And as part of that, this is not a moldy 1 million cups. So we want to give you that. Thanks again for being here, and we're going to do a giveaway.